Okay, here you go. I just heard something on Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze. And this is why I don't like them nor trust them. I have no respect for them. That Democrat, and this is even worse, using a Democrat to trash Trump. And this Democrat who's running for president on the Democratic side, who is grandson of JFK or Bobby K, who the hell cares? It's a Democrat saying that Trump got rolled by his bureaucracy. Just because he says it doesn't mean it's true. That's my first point. The second point is he's talking about his JFK and the Cuban Missile Crisis and how JFK was strong enough to tell the bureaucrats, I'm not going to do it if it's going to make the Russians mad, which to me sounds like weakness, sounds like a coward, sounds like a person who isn't willing to do what's right, even if the consequences are hard. Have we forgotten that people in the thousands were dying daily? 20,000, 30,000 were dying daily at the beginning of COVID. I'm not for government tyranny. Honestly, sincerely, I was willing to shoot anybody who came to my home, try to knock the door down, to inject me with any vaccine. So I'm not doing this because I'm for vaccines, I'm for corporations. We tell the truth. What I heard from that Democrat is that JFK didn't have the stones to be president. Didn't have the wisdom to do the right thing. Why does Russia not respect the U.S. or care what the U.S. does? Probably because of weak leadership, which is something you cannot say about Trump. And then they played a statement from Trump where he said that he wasn't going to allow states to open up. That's a qualified statement. He said he's not going to allow states to open up if there's a lot of death, if there's a lot of illness, if there's a lot of sickness. Mr. Trump was right. He made the strong choice, regardless of political consequences, to stand up for life. I've always heard that. If you're going to err in the side of life. JFK didn't err on the side of life. He erred on the side of fear. But here you have Pat Gray and his little puppy Keith on Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze, trashing Trump, and then using a Democrat. Who the hell needs Republicans when you got people like Pat Gray out there using a Democrat to trash Trump? I would rather have Trump in office in a crisis, in a medical crisis, in a virus crisis. I would have taken the same precautions. There is a time, I'm sorry, but there is a time for quarantines. And there is a time, that's one thing. Was this a time? No. I did it, the statistics. I looked at the numbers early on. I looked at the death rate. Trump did everything I would have done. A sound, reasonable, rational person looks at what is happening, looks at the numbers of death, looks at the numbers of infections, looks at the threat to the human race, and makes the decisions based on that information. Trump stayed on top of the information, and Trump never put the country on a full lockdown. And you gotta behave responsibly. You have to behave like a sound, reasonable person who errs on the side of life. I was tortured in the College of Science. I don't think Pat Gray or Keith from Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze were tortured in any college, other than the ones that go to football games. I had the biology, had the geology, the astronomy. I worked in a hospital. It was not medical, but I was in a hospital environment. And one thing the hospitals do, so their employees don't do anything stupid, they invest a lot in education and training. And my biggest concern is that there's people dumb enough to listen to Pat Gray Unleashed and Keith and Clay and Buck. I need better of the members of American society than just to be a bunch of foolish followers of Pat Gray Unleashed. Use your brain. Think. That Democrat can say anything about Trump doesn't make it true. COVID was a very serious illness, was not taken seriously by the government, by the politicians, and no one trusts them. And the next time, it's going to be worse. But there were people dying. There was people who were sick. I met people who lost their mothers. Again, not for government tyranny. I'm for freedom. And I was in the mindset that the city of El Paso police, the El Paso County sheriffs in Texas, the state cops, the federal cops come to my door telling me I have to be vaccinated, my gun was going to come out. And whatever happened, happened. But tell the truth. Be an honest person. Have integrity. All I know is they love to trash Trump. And as far as I am concerned, Trump is the only person I trust.